With a 40% reduction in the IRS overall because of the Trump administration, the IRS isn't just auditing anymore. Let's look at what the IRS-CI Annual Report really reveals about today's criminal tax enforcement environment. Most taxpayers and their advisors think criminal tax cases begin when the IRS discovers something suspicious during an audit. That was once a common path. About 7% of criminal cases started in audits historically. Today, the reality is often different, especially with IRS audits down across the board. Before the IRS ever contacts you, it may have already analyzed your bank records, looked at your payment processor data, looked at your cryptocurrency transactions obtained via John Doe summonses, obtained financial institution reports, digital evidence, and information from multiple federal and state agencies. The question is no longer whether the IRS can find a data trail. The question today is, how much do they already know about you before ever making their first move? That's scary. Hi, I'm David W. Klasing. I'm a dual licensed tax attorney and CPA. And for more than 25 years now, my team and I have represented business owners, investors, professionals, and high-income taxpayers that are facing both civil tax controversies and IRS criminal tax investigation matters. Today, we currently have 23 offices in 11 states to assist you nationally and internationally with these types of issues. Today, I'll explain what the current IRS Criminal Investigation Annual Report really tells us, those of us in the know, why modern criminal tax investigations look very different than they did even a decade ago, and what that means for taxpayers in 2026 and beyond. First of all, this isn't a report simply about numbers. Every year, the IRS criminal investigation folks publish statistics. But those numbers, especially when analyzed over years, tell a much bigger story. The report highlights billions of dollars of identified financial fraud, thousands of criminal tax prosecution referrals, search warrants, criminal tax convictions, and represents enormous volumes of digital evidence that was seized, analyzed, and then prosecuted on. These figures are not simply performance metrics. To the trained eye, they reveal how the government's investigative strategy has continued to evolve over time. The story really isn't with the numbers themselves. It's what those numbers say about modern criminal tax enforcement. The bottom line? Today, the IRS is building criminal tax cases very differently than they did in the past. Years ago, many criminal tax cases started with a traditional audit. At times, up to 7% of the CI's caseload came from the civil side. Today, most criminal tax investigations begin elsewhere. CI is looking at financial institution data, payment processor data, data from Bank Secrecy Act reporting, data from cryptocurrency brokerages, especially John Doe summonses. They're looking at third-party information returns, interagency cooperation, both federal and state. It's all digital evidence. And they're using advanced AI analytics to look at it. Instead of waiting for taxpayers to explain their financial activity, the government is increasingly reconstructing it before making any contact with the taxpayer. Digital evidence has changed everything. Modern criminal tax investigators are no longer limited to a paper trail. Today, electronic evidence from emails, text messages, cloud accounting systems, bank records, processor reports, digital wallets, backup files, and electronic devices that are seized may all become part of a criminal tax investigation. Many taxpayers mistakenly believe that deleting files, changing software, or moving records after IRS contact solves their problem. In reality, those actions may simply create additional metadata-based evidence of concealment or obstruction. Both of these are separate crimes before you get to a tax crime. Technology has flat out changed how evidence is collected and how criminal tax investigators reconstruct financial activity. So, how is CI following the financial trail today? Their annual report reinforces another important point. IRS criminal investigation today is rarely examining one issue in isolation. For example, a payroll tax case may uncover unreported cash-based income. A fraudulent refund claim may involve a return preparer that's under criminal investigation themselves. A cryptocurrency investigation may lead to offshore evasion or foreign information reporting fraud issues. A non-filer may also have nominee accounts triggering SPIES evasion exposure. Check out my website, SPIES, S-P-I-E-S. The government is going to follow the financial trail, not simply look at a tax return. Well, the difference between civil enforcement and criminal enforcement is the whole ballgame here. Well, none of what I'm telling you automatically means that any mistake you make becomes a criminal tax case. That's not what I'm saying. The IRS rightfully continues to distinguish between non-willful errors and intentional misconduct. Consequently, many taxpayers remain eligible for straight-up civil resolutions, things like amended returns, penalty relief claims, or audit defense can make all the difference. I've never had an audit client I represented go to jail for a tax crime. The critical distinction here is still willfulness. But the bottom line to all of this is the government's investigative tools and the data available to them have become far more sophisticated. The legal standard they prosecute under, to some extent, hasn't. Well, let's talk about waiting to fix your tax problems may be very dangerous today. One of the biggest mistakes I see taxpayers make is assuming they have time. They can sit around and wait. Well, here's the scary part. Most criminal tax investigations begin up to 2 years before the taxpayer or their representative ever receives notice. By the time you receive a search warrant, or a summons is issued, or an interview occurs, the government likely already has years of financial evidence supporting its theory of the case. Well, if you get nothing else out of this video, waiting around rarely improves the underlying facts of your case. Well, if you get nothing else out of this video, the most important lesson is not that the IRS has become more aggressive, is that its visibility into your financial affairs has exponentially increased, and its AI-driven ability to analyze that data. Financial records, digital evidence, third-party reporting, and AI-powered data analytics allow today's criminal tax investigations to identify patterns of income tax evasion that once might have remained hidden. Understanding your criminal tax exposure before the government comes and defines it for you is often the most important decision a taxpayer can make. If your situation involves unreported income, fraudulent employment tax issues, unreported cryptocurrency, unreported offshore accounts and the associated income from them, claiming false deductions, or years and years of non-filing, especially where SPIES factors are evident, or any matter that could involve willful tax noncompliance, don't assume that limited IRS contact means limited government knowledge. At the tax law offices of David W. Klasing, our dual licensed attorneys and CPAs evaluate tax matters from both a civil and criminal tax defense lens. We analyze bank records, digital evidence, accounting files, payment processor data, return history, third-party reporting. And we're going to look at voluntary disclosure options, both civil and criminal. We're going to determine your safest legal strategy for you to return to compliance before the government locks onto a criminal tax narrative and you become jail-bound. Call 1-800-681-1295 or visit klasing-associates.com to schedule a confidential, reduced-rate initial consultation today. Why? Because modern criminal tax investigations are built years before most taxpayers or their representatives ever realize they've even begun. Dave Klasing, Tax Attorney, CPA.